Okay, so for the next 5 or 10 minutes, I want to engage you. I will ask you one or two questions. So the first question is, for those leaders, fisherfolk leaders who are present, I would like you to share with us what have been the benefits of communicating regularly to your membership and receiving communication from them. So that's one part of the question, because not all of us are good at the communicating bit, but some of us are. So for those who are, I would like you to answer that section of the question. For those who have challenges communicating throughout the group as leaders, I would like you to share with us what are those challenges and what is the type of feedback you get from not communicating on a routine, a regular basis. So I want to open up those. So each leader has an opportunity. If you think you're a good communicator, then you can see benefits. If you think you're not such a good communicator, then we want to share with us what are the challenges and what are the feedback. So the floor is open.
All right, good night. I think I'll go first. Hello. Hello, good
Yes,
night.
Winsbert, go ahead. Yes, Winsbert, go ahead. Just say your name so that everybody knows who it is. And
Um, Winsmore Harry from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, president of the National Fisher Folks and Fisheries Liaison Officer for the network, Cnfo, and a fisherman by profession. For those who just joining us for the first, and for those who already know, this is Winsmore Harry, nickname aka Bob. Um, Dealing with communication as a leader, I think I had some challenges in terms of communication, in terms of giving out information and receiving information. Some of the challenges you might have is that when it's in National Fisher Folks Organization, and the National Fisher Folks Organization entails primary organizations. And when you have primary organizations that are benefiting and doing their own business for their sustainability, and where you have the national organization ain't really doing not much in terms of bringing in an income. And different organizations have different agenda. And in terms of one of the weakness I see is that feedback information is a quite a challenge because according to the vision of the Cnfo in St. Vincent, is to gather information from regional, international, and local and feed to the primary fisher folks group, even to the ordinary fisherman. And for these people now to feedback into the organization itself. Communication is a big challenge because some of these organizations we know normally do not have office space to really operate from. And when you speak to certain individuals, it's like you're speaking to a man and one, but sometimes the information don't really reach to the board level in terms of when you feed the information one on one to this individual, sometimes the other members on the board don't really receive this information. And even if the information circulate to me and other members on my board don't have the communication technique or the communication that they could receive the information, I think that is a big challenge in terms of having a good function board and having the information reach to you and reach out. So one of the things I really see is that we need to see how best we could develop a good communication strategy that we could get every person involved, because when in terms of board meetings is that sometimes some people struggle to have a good quorum, and when you really look at when people come to the meeting and represent their organization, you expect that the message that they receive from their organization, from the NFO, reach to their general membership, in not only for the board alone. So there is a way some of the communication do reach them, and some organization I find do have a membership meeting different to when there is AGM, that you have a membership going. So this is where I find some of the struggles dealing with the communication in terms of from top to bottom and from bottom to top. And one of the things as we as fishermen, although I'm the president, is that feedback information, because fishers are now seeing that it's waste of time they come to meeting. Because they find if they talk in meeting, there's nothing being heard, they just talk, and nobody really take the information and carry it anyway. So I think one of the struggles in closing, one of the struggles is that NFOs need to see how best we could come up with good communication strategy, even that we know board members that represent different organizations attend meetings, is that the information they get not only reach to the board itself that govern the organization, but majority of the information reach the membership, and not only when you have workshop and seminars that you're hearing, that some of the members hearing about what is taking place in terms of the communication. So I think we need to see how best and how often we could have a membership meeting, different to board meeting, and we each ask everybody if they could really bring in reports that what is happening in your organization. So we could have documentation. I think documentation is a problem more than when you sit in a meeting, you could all talk like how we could all talk tonight. And really bring in any presentation or any document and saying, this is where our minutes, this is what taking place in our meeting at the primary level and at the national level. So I'm going to leave it there and for now, but I could go on, but I will just give room to other people to add or correct me. So I'm going to leave it for now. Over back to you.
Thank you, Winsworth. Thank you, Winsworth. So there are other leaders here, and we'd love to hear from you as well, whether you have challenges and what is the implications of those, why you really communicate well, and what are the benefits of that. So we open to someone else.
Hi, good night, everybody. I'm Shalene Berry from Jamaica, fisheries officer and group facilitator.
Good night.
Hi. Some of the ways in which I communicate with my groups is through social media, specifically WhatsApp groups, where for each group, a WhatsApp group is created. And so any information that needs to be disseminated is sent through the group. There's also face-to-face interaction, focus group meetings, telephone calls, and printed media. So if a message needs to get out, one of these mediums are used, and we meet monthly So if there is a training coming up or any information that needs to get out, it is also, that information is discussed and presented in the group. So one of the challenges that I have though is that when we use a WhatsApp group, for most times, even though the fishers will eventually get the message, they might not get the message at the time when I need them to get it, because 99% of them might not have credit on their cell phones. So if one person gets it, then I will have to rely on that one person to spread the news across to the persons on a particular beach. Other than that, I'll have to just wait until the fishers have credit on their phones for them to receive the message, if it is not anything that is very urgent. But they do communicate, they do respond rather, to say, you know, they have got the message, and if there's any action that needs to be done, they will follow through. So that's basically what I have to say right now. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Celine. Is there anyone else who wants to share as well? So we have someone that has a clear communication strategy and someone with some challenges. So yeah, there are others who would like to share with us.
Good night, Mitch. I'm Max here from Guyana. So
Yes, Max, you have the floor.
So my communication challenge is that so we have meetings. Fishers come up with problems, but we cannot deal with some of the problems. For example, some of the landing sites are in poor condition. The roads are terrible. You cannot bring out your produce to the market. Now, these are things that can only done through government assistance. And we find out that when we spoke to the authorities, they keep promising and they're not doing nothing. So it brings a bad relation with I as a leader and the fisher folks, because when I call them to meeting to listen to their concern, and I cannot give them a solution, when I keep meeting and call meeting, the people them don't turn up because they're not getting no assistance. So that's a challenge from our end in Guyana. And so I will just close for that for now, and let me just go.
Thank you, Max. Is there anyone else who wants to share?
Yeah, hi, good night.
Yes, good night.
Susan Hodge, Anguilla Fisher Folk Association. Secretary, PRO, some a little everything that they don't want to do.
Excellent, Susan. You have the floor.
I am a disaster manager by career, but I did a project with the Fisher Folk Association about safety at sea, and I'm trying to help them organize. And what I have realized is they have been talking for a very long time and nothing has been happening. But that's because they haven't been together. They came together recently with the COVID-19 because they were not able to fish as they wanted to. And basically it was just, you know, argumentative. They wanted, you know, they wanted their own way. They didn't understand that there's another way of going about things. But because I'm a disaster manager, when I went to a conference, I found out about COAST that CRIF is offering. And when I spoke to them about that, they said, well, yeah, this is what we need. And so I advocated for that. And now our government is in the process of trying to at least pay for the Fisher Folk Association to get that, the overarching COAST. rather than the individual. But as I tried to tell them, there are different parts of coast that you can get. So you can have the individual, you can have the association, and then you can get what government gives you. So the government is going to give them that part. But when it comes to communication, if it is something negative, it's going to travel really, really quickly. If it is something that is good, but they need to come out for it, they're not going to come. Because as part of the project, we did first aid training. They decided it was a good fishing day, and maybe one or two came. We did water safety training. The majority went fishing instead of coming to the training. And then afterwards, they complained that they weren't part of the training. They have had meetings with the governor and the premier, but right now they don't feel that the current president has done sufficient, so they want to uproot him. But there's nobody who wants to take the leadership position. And trying to get them to calm down enough to understand that this person is in leadership now. Give him time. You're all coming out to the meetings now. Give him time so he can actually do something. If he doesn't do something, then you change him. But right now, they had an opportunity about 2 weeks ago to talk to the premier and the ministers. And only the president of the association showed up because all the others went fishing. So I don't understand how they want to get their point across if they have opportunities and they don't use the opportunities to get the communication across. And they do know how to communicate. I know that they do, but I don't know, it's a challenge trying to get them calm enough to be able to do something. I don't know if any other countries are experiencing that as well.
Thanks a lot, Susan. So I'm going to take one or two more if there are others who would like to contribute, but I'll just make some comments first. So from the contributions we've had a lot of stuff that we presented on. So I hope you're following that. We can actually benefit from understanding what is happening and then promoting what leaders need to do. Leaders are critical in every stage of group formation. So in Angola now, there's a period of storming even though they're performing. So I made a note of that. Is there anyone else?
Mitch, can you repeat because the sound was it wasn't so clear.
Yes, I was saying from all of the contributions so far, we've had some elements that have been presented on, and I want to know particularly because they are performing and still in a scene of storming as well in terms of internal group dynamics. So I want to invite someone else to be there like as well, and then we move to another question.
Hello, good night.
Good night, Kejiana. You have the floor.
What's okay. I did not get everything from the very beginning. I think I logged in back in at the point where just before we looked at the groups of the steps of group formation, somewhere thereabout. So in terms of communication, what I've found is that, and I may have expressed that before, that I found it was very difficult in terms of communication to and from my members when I started with Goodwill so many moons ago. One of the things that we don't have a clear communication plan or communication strategy, but knowing the little that I know about communication and the communication cycle, what I try to do is to ensure that there is always a level of engagement with the members, because what I found is that lack of information created a high level of distrust and mistrust as well. So what I attempted to do was to ensure that as information comes, and some of it you can't control because some of it comes from a third party, for example, it may be information being disseminated from through the cooperative from the Department of Fisheries, for example. And normally by the time it gets to the cooperative level, sometimes deadlines are close at hand and so on. But we try to is to ensure that as soon as we get the information, that we give information to the fishers. And so what it did, trying to establish a line of communication, was it had also engendered a level of trust. And so that other side of the communication also started growing in terms of information from the members. One of the other strategies we've employed as a cooperative is, apart from, and I know somebody mentioned it a while ago, the speaker before the last, was at one point we only met with our members at annual general meetings. And the norm would be that you call an AGM today, you use the 10-day notice or more days notice, you put it out in the media, the flyers and everything. And what you found is that on the AGM day, the first call, you'd never be able to have an AGM because you'd not have a quorum. And by the second call, because you can constitutionally go ahead with the meeting even not having a quorum at that time, then you go ahead with it. But it means that there was a significant lack of attendance at meetings. But over time, we've been able to change that through the way in which we go about inviting persons. So whereas at first it would be a general notice on the notice board in the newspaper perhaps, or on one of the local radio stations, what we've taken it a step further is that what I do when we have, whether it's a general meeting or an annual general meeting or quarterly meeting, is that we do these small flyers and we actually personally disseminate them to the members. So sometimes I do them and actually put the name on it. So I'm inviting Mitch Lay to the meeting, membership number 2. And so as they come into the service station, to the shop, the tackle shop, to make their purchases, my customer service reps hand deliver the invitations to them. Or I make it my duty myself to stay at the front, and as they come in, I engage them. So we don't just hand them an invitation. We speak to them about it. So we tell them that it's whatever date, and we tell them, make sure you come because we're going to discuss this, and you engage them. What are the issues that you're having? So here we're giving you an opportunity to come and discuss it so that decisions can be taken at the highest level of decision making. So we found that over time that strategy has worked, and we've been having numbers at our meetings. The other thing we've done is that apart from the annual general meeting once a year, we've also instituted quarterly meetings. So it means including the AGM, we meet with our members at least 4 times a year. So if we have a constitutionally due, we hold a meeting at the constitutionally due time, say in March, it means in June, in September, and December, we also have quarterly meetings. But we try as much as possible to have the AGM and at least 3 other meetings during the year. And what we found is that filtering information and engaging with the members have really boosted their confidence in the cooperative, and it helps with management planning and day-to-day goal setting and everything, because you get an opportunity to discuss things with the members and have an opportunity to go back to the drawing board within the quarter to rethink the strategies that you probably had already set, or the goals that you already set, and also come up with new projects and new ideas. So that has worked for us in terms of communication. We've also established a WhatsApp group, and I've found though that during this COVID time, that there has been a greater level of engagement in the WhatsApp group chat because we've not able to have the physical meetings. And so it gives us an opportunity to communicate. And then it's not always information in terms of updates from the Department of Cooperatives or from the government. What we've established is that we have clear guidelines for the WhatsApp group in terms of what type of content can be shared. But especially during COVID, we relaxed some of the guidelines a bit to allow persons to maybe forward a joke, a quiz, a tongue twister, something just to engage people and get them comfortable to speak. And have found that persons really engage. Not everybody, we don't get everybody. There are some persons who are in the group chat and they wouldn't say anything unless perhaps on a particular day. Sometimes every 2 weeks or so, what I do in the WhatsApp group chat is I take a roll call. So I actually call persons by name, and so I'm like, Nadine, are you there? Mitch, are you there? So and so, are you there? And that allows us a level of engagement, and that seems to be working a bit. I just wanted to share that with the group.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Kijiana. We really appreciate the contributions. Um, is there anyone else who really wants to share as well? Because I do want to get one or two other questions, but if you have something really interesting to share with us on the communications with your group, we'd love to hear that before we move on.
Hello, everyone. Adrian here.
Hi, Adrian. Yes, you have the floor.
Yeah, I just want to share just a bit on the communication strategies. What I found is that, Mitch, on your training for 7 years now, we've caused us to engage other partners, right? And when I say other partners, in terms of the press, whether written or radio, whether written press or communication. And through that. So what I found, particularly in the past 2 years, I've been engaging them more, and they have now been more receptive to our message. Not often do we get our message out, depending on the news day, but the strategy is to take advantage of the absence of news to be able to give them a story. So those communication strategies have worked well for us here, so much so that just doing a Zoom meeting on last Thursday, we've been invited to participate in a national program in terms of the something that I mentioned earlier about the coral reef situation. So the communication strategies work in terms of just becoming familiar with the people who are going to be reporting the news, taking advantage of those alliances. And I don't know if that fit into what your intent was, but I'm just throwing it out. All right.
Oh, yes, because the communication is also general. It goes beyond, including your membership and beyond. So that is also critical to get new members interested as well. To see some level of success incremental order. Okay. I want to ask engage discussion in another area, if I may, and that is the area of having a central place, an office or some functional workplace that the group can identify as its own, and that holds the group's information in repository, so that group members access information and also plans, position, current affairs. So I want to ask the question, for those who have offices, yes, is it something that the group members appreciate and use? And for those who don't have offices, what are the inherent restraints that you have by not having an office, and how you address them? So I open the floor. So this is a two-part question. It has both sides. Those who have offices, what are the actual benefits in terms of the membership using the office and appreciating it? And also, and I'm not speaking just about the workflow, I'm speaking to group cohesion. Yes. And then those who don't have offices, what are the drawbacks and the challenges, and how do you address them? So go on, open those two areas for those who will share either one. Slowly open now. Who would like to go first?
Yes, Mitch, because I know that you were having internet difficulties and you're at a location, not at your home or office to conduct this. We are still having difficulties hearing you. You're breaking up 50% of the time when you speak. So for the members, I think I want to repeat what you were asking. I think you're asking for those who have offices, it says what are the benefits for the membership with using this office space and appreciating it. And those who do not have a physical office, what problems or restraints it brings to the organization. Those, it's a two-part question. Mitch is asking about having a physical office. So I will open for comments. And it's over to Mitch again to see if he can continue.
Thank you, Nadine. The floor is open for comments.
Max here from Guyana. Okay, we do have an office, and it's very useful. We can receive emails from a central location. Cnfo, other stakeholders and other partners, and share it to our members. We can hold special meetings whenever the need arises. We have at our office, we have printers, we have internet, the whole everything. So there's a lot of benefit. We even do training to some of our members on use of computers. We train some of them children when they're doing these secondary school. They have some exam. They have to do a lot of paperwork. So we provide a service free of cost to these with having an office. So for us, there's so many benefits from having a physical office. I just can't imagine if we didn't have an office, how we would have been able to do whatever we do.
So from the leadership perspective, you can hear me, Max?
Yes, Mitch, hear you loud and clear.
So from the leadership perspective, you see the significant benefits of the office.
Yes.
How does the group see the office? So does the group use the office? Because that's one clear sign of appreciation.
Yes, the group, it's there, they are welcome, they come and they use it. It's a place that they can come and share their views, and whoever is there. Sometimes we have 4 major landing sites that communicate with us, and they can come with issues that affecting them, and hope that most of the time we get problem with the national people there, the fisheries department, so they can come, and then we can do a letter or email or a memo and send it to the national people there. So the office is there. It's
excellent.
Yeah, it's there.
Thank you very much, Max. Anyone else would like to share either on the benefits or on the challenges when you don't have an office?
Yeah, I can share on that. Adrian here. I can share on that. We do not have a permanent space, but we have the benefit of 2 locations. The primary location is the office of the Department of Marine Resources here in the Providence in the Bahamas, which we can utilize at any time. And the secondary location is at my office, that we also have access to, and all of the communication still come to our official post office box that we've been maintaining now for the past basically 13 years. Um, so meeting locations really don't matter, but the greater challenge for us is it depends on the type of meeting that we're going to have. If we're going to have a general meeting where we know that hardly anybody will show up, yes, we can conduct the meeting at any of those two locations, either the Department of Marine Resources conference room or my office. But if we're going, excuse me, but if we're going to have a meeting on national issues, we will use a church because we understand that fishers have a particular reverence for the church, which they should, and we found that that is the best venue to have it. We would like to see the day when we can have in the Bahamas, particularly in the Providence, a base for fishermen to meet at, but we're still a long way off from that.
Thanks, Adrian. Is there anyone else who would like to share with us as well?
Mitch, I would like to share.
Hey, you have the floor, Nadine.
Yes, because I originally thought that a physical office would not have so much importance for a regional organization whose coordinator is in another country and all its board member except Belize is in another country from where the physical office is. But for the Cnfo, having an office space given to us by the CRFM, it is something good because it gives us good, like, I don't know, stability in the country. And I am surprised of how often my office space is being used, particularly by the Belize Fishermen Cooperative Association, when we offered to assist them with some advocacy. The Cnfo as a group decided to focus some attention in Belize for maybe the last 2 years. It served very helpful, and it's not our office, but we share it with them. Even though they have a lot of other places that they can use, they feel comfortable coming. So at least 3 days of the week, they're in the office for many hours, just planning and just being there using the space. And sometimes we even have to ask kindly of the CRFM to use a bigger space from them, the conference room, to hold meetings. And then I think the location is convenient because it's the compound of the fisheries division. So fishers frequent there. So if they are coming from far, remember Belize is big, they travel over 50 miles. They don't want to be going from one location to the next. So when they come there to renew their fisheries license, then they would want to meet with the BFC at the same time. And everything is just right there, a central location. And for that reason, it is a very high benefit for at least one of our local members in Belize.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Is there anyone else? So that's one regional perspective. So we have different levels. Is there anyone else?
Hi, Mitch.
Mitch.
Good
Yes,
evening
Sylvia.
to all. This is Sylvia from Barnufo office in Barbados. We do have a physical office, which is housed in the fisheries division. We use that a lot and it's nice that it's there because we use it a lot for our training sessions, seminars, workshops, and stuff like that. Also, we can also call on Sir Mies Maria at any time that we need additional space or to have a workshop or training or something like that. We can always call on Sir Mies to always help out. But I find that sometimes when the fishers themselves need to have a meeting like after work, after we finish 7, 8 o'clock at night, and we need to have a little meeting, the space is not available to us. And for that is our disadvantage of just having that one office. But if we can have something that is more flexible, that we can use to have a little session after work, you know, so that we can meet with the fishers and stuff like that, that will benefit us a lot. But yes, having a physical office is good. It has its advantages and its disadvantages.
Great, thanks a lot, Sylvia. There was someone else who wanted to make a contribution. You have a chance.
Mitch, I just want to before I forget, I realized something. Last week, the government sent out a link to do some to assist those who was affected by COVID-19, and one of the categories was people who had a loss of job due to COVID-19. Now, on our side, we get some fishers that fish on the border with Suriname, and for the past 3 months, Suriname had closed its border, and these fishers couldn't have work at all. They cannot go out and fish. It's 140 odd fishers cannot work at all. So we use from Saturday. We calling them in batches because remember we have to maintain this social distance. So we call them in batches of 20, and they come in, and we had to do this application online, and we was doing it. We did half day Saturday, whole day Monday, Tuesday, and today we finished with it. 147 fishers. We fill up the application and we send it. We just hope that something come out of it. Benefit of having an office.
Yes, great, Max. Directly related to the current situation as well. Yes. So we can have 1 or 2 more persons because we just run out of, well, just about an hour. Yes. So is there anyone else who would like to share? No pressure, but we'd love to hear from you if you would like to share.
So Mitch, just for that last moment, we did not clearly hear, but we understand that you're asking for a couple more people to have a chance to speak because you're wrapping up shortly. That's what I heard.
Yes, that's correct.
Good.
Everyone to ask whatever question you like based on the presentation. So now you have an opportunity to ask a question or two before we close. So the floor is open for anyone who wants to ask a question about the presentation or about the questions